Hello, hello. The dump is getting worse, guys and girls. The price of Bitcoin is now at 97.3 and altcoins are continuing to capitulate. If you're wondering why this is happening, this is completely because of President Trump. He just announced that on Feb 4th, which is in 2 days, there's going to be some massive implementation of tariffs on Mexico and Canada. And today we're going to be discussing why this is actually important for the price of Bitcoin. It's going to explain why the price of Bitcoin is dumping, and we'll go into if this should be worrying you as an investor or is it going to be a short-term thing. And sorry for speaking in a low voice. Everybody's sleeping, so I'm just trying to get this update to you as fast as possible. Now let's go into again why this dump is really happening. So first of all, Trump is introducing tariffs to Mexico and Canada. And this is freaking out people because Trump is known to be an incredibly unpredictable president. He is so unpredictable. So nobody knows what is going to happen, what he's going to say, how is that going to impact the economy? People are unsure. And when there is uncertainty in the market, then risk on assets, which include cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin inclusive, they tend to dump. In times of uncertainty, risk on assets tend to go down. That is reason one for why Bitcoin is going to the downside. Number two, when you increase tariffs, you are creating the potential of higher inflation. If there is higher inflation in the market, then it's going to take longer for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. We know that the rates are at around 4.25%, right? And every single FOMC meeting, we're there watching Fed Chair Powell try to get to the point and give us some sort of a hint that the rates are going to come down. Because if the rates do not come down, then money is going to continue to be costly to be borrowed by institutions. If you have if you have rates that are at the 1% level, the 2% level, or as low as where it is in Japan, then institutions are able to borrow a lot of money for a very cheap price. Let's say rates are 1%, and an institution buys $1 million with 1% interest rate. What are they going to pay? They're going to pay like $10,000 per year on interest, right? But when they go to Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up by like 60% every single year. So they can afford to take the risk of putting their money into Bitcoin because they're going to make a net 59% profit, hopefully, right? Or they just put it into bonds or they put it into different financial instruments that are guaranteed for them to make over the 1% interest that they pay. So as long as rates stay at a high level, it is going to be very difficult for risk on assets, which include Bitcoin. Again, specifically Bitcoin and crypto in general. It's going to be tough for them to do very well. When you go to 2021, in the boom of the crypto market, you can see that rates were at a dramatically low level. This was because borrowing was cheap, people had access to borrowing, and obviously savings were also pretty high, at least compared to where it is today. That is why we had a huge altcoin season. That is why the crypto market and stocks went incredibly well. Until we get to that level, it's going to be tough to see the euphoric phase of the altcoin season and Bitcoin going to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is why these Trump tariffs are a bit concerning. However, this is the good news, guys and girls. If Trump increases the tariffs, in the short term, yes, it will be painful for the US economy, but in the long term, it can be good. Hopefully, it's not guaranteed, but what is guaranteed is that tariffs force countries to go away from the dollar. So when there is de-dollarization, when BRICS countries and international countries, apart from America, basically, if they shift away from the dollar because they don't want to do business with America, if they're getting tariffed, and they can't really do import and exports with the US, what's the point of using the US dollar? So if more countries are incentivized to ditch the US dollar, then there's going to be the emergence and power going to different international currencies. This puts Bitcoin under the spotlight. This puts Bitcoin under the spotlight as a storage of value where all other currencies are kind of deciding which one will be dominant and which one will be used. Bitcoin is a safe haven that has no central authority so that people like investors are like, oh my God, okay, whose currency is going to go up? Whose currencies is going to become the reserve currency? When people are trying to figure this out during that time of uncertainty, there's going to be an Uno reverse card where people say, oh my God, let's park our cash into Bitcoin for now until the world decides where we're going to go. So in the short term, yes, it is bad for Bitcoin. I completely agree. But in the macro, it is so good for Bitcoin. So this is my suggestion. I think what I'm seeing currently is pretty similar to the following. I'm getting a lot of similarities to what happened at this point in the market. When you saw it topping here, right? And then you went down, you came back up, and everybody thought this was a double top. I remember those days. I think that could be the situation, but we just drift on a little bit longer, right? Maybe have another dip, but eventually we will continue breaking up because that is the Bitcoin cycles, regardless of whatever happens in the economy, regardless of what happens in the macro economy, microeconomy. Bitcoin has its halving cycles, and according to this cycle theory, it is going to go up either in February, because February is a very bullish month. First half of Feb could be bad, but second half, according to previous data, it should be pretty bullish. Even if it's not, it's fine. We still have Q2 and then Q3 to go into. And then, of course, unfortunately, Q4 is probably going to be the market top, and then we're going to go into the bear market. That was the thing, guys. Like a lot of people were saying, okay, Trump is going to save Bitcoin. And people got mad when I said it in my videos. Like, Trump is a politician. Politicians say things for money. I told you how much money he raised from institutions, right? It was like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of lobbying money. So obviously, if you give somebody that is so money focused, right, that's business. If you give someone that much money, then obviously he's going to like it. He's going to say bullish things about it. And if he's making a lot of money himself with his own projects, then obviously it's going to add to his bias. But will the strategic Bitcoin reserve happen? Yes, I think it will happen. And those lobbying dollars will come to some sort of a net profit when this reserve situation takes place, but it's going to be another 6 months. That is what the working group mentioned. In June, we should have some sort of report from Trump saying that okay, let's move ahead with this, um, bill, or let's not. And then there's Cynthia Lummis's bill. So I think we're still bullish. We can just go sideways and maybe dip a little bit more. It's completely okay. What's important is tomorrow's market open. I discussed it in today's video, the earlier video today, that there's a huge CME gap currently at $102,000. So if markets open tomorrow, I'm expecting they're going to open in the red. And when markets open in the red, usually there's increased bearish volume into Bitcoin. So that could drag the price a little bit lower. However, it's just going to be time, right? Time is going to tell us. I'm just trying to find the CME gap. There was an indicator here. Maybe not, right? But the CME gap is somewhere at 102. So eventually we're going to push back up to that level. But let's find out what happens tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing a show on the Moonshow channel when the market opens. And we're going to be live. So we'll talk through it. We'll do a bit more deep analysis. I just wanted to give you the quick rundown. I'll do a full story with the full news and everything on the Moonshow tomorrow. But that is basically a summary of why things are dumping. And if you're asking, okay, what should I do? Well, just try and accumulate Bitcoin. Altcoins are incredibly cheap, right? It's like an opportunity that if you hold these altcoins for, let's say, 2, 3, 4 months, then yes, you're going to make profit if you just hodl. But leverage positions, I'm out of the position. My stop loss got hit at 3013. It's okay. You just take some chances, and if they don't work out, they don't work out, which is cool, right? So we're going to wait. We're going to try and see how the markets react on Monday's open, and we'll go from there. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a good evening, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Take care, guys, and as always, bye bye.